Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dr. Michaela Spangenberg. I'm from a health facility, Dairy Education Coalition. A couple of things tonight. I believe that this is probably one of the first times, maybe not the first time in this district, but the first times in general, I've seen a time limit for an actual public hearing. I think this happened once before earlier. I'm not sure if we can actually time limit people in a public hearing, but it is what it is. I think that should be looked into. We wouldn't want to run afoul of ODL because apparently the PAC has people back at work now. So, couple of things. I recall that at some point in the past, the recent past, since this board took control of the school corporation, we've had at least one, maybe two instances of excess transfer from education funds to operational. I have no idea if that happened this year because I don't think there was a notice, and I do know like there was a weird thing. They've now changed it to 30, and then it was temporarily 20, and then there might have been a year when it went back to 15. But we definitely need to avoid that because we don't need DUAB back involved in the school corporation for sure. We also need to be cognizant of our responsibilities to Roosevelt, which is still a school that is under the authority of this board. It's still technically owned by the school corporation. There is a process to restore it and to make it into something wonderful again for our community. But until that happens, we still have an obligation to maintain that school like we do all school buildings. And there was an instance in which somebody broke into the school. It was very obvious that that break-in resulted in some damage to the school. Action was not taken swiftly enough, and therefore there were consequences of that then cost this school corporation more money. That shouldn't have happened, first of all. Second of all, in addition to all of that, I know there's a lot of alumni who are always looking for ways to try to contribute to things. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Like to ask for item 2, our Form 3 discussion.
Good evening, Gary Community School Board members, Dr. Stokes, and community members. I'd like to go over a few things on our proposed 2026 budget. First, we did receive an email from Brenda Herbs in regards to the excessive transfer, and we are within our limits of the 15%.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. We received an email from Brenda Herbs, and we are within our 15% excessive transfer. So I want to take a moment to share the highlights of our proposed 2026 budget. The total budget is $82.3 million, up from $76 million last year. This increase reflects certain things, expenses that are concurred by the district. We have to pay these. One of the things is the turf increase that starts January 1. That's 0.5% for all teachers and administrators who are licensed. We also have a 4% increase in medical expenses that the district has incurred those expenses. We also mid-year have a PERF increase. We're not sure what the percentage is, so I did build a little bit in the budget for that increase. We also have a new statute where the teacher compensation has gone up to 65%. It was 62%, and now it will be 65%. So these budget numbers are with all of those increases. We want to make sure that we ensure We have enough in our budget to cover all of these costs.
So I want to share something, because we're using acronyms that our community and or board members may not be aware of. So TERF and PERF, we want to make sure that they understand that the TERF is for our teachers, education, retirement fund, and that PERF is for our
Non-certified.
non-certified or professional education retirement fund. I need to make sure that we know what those terminologies mean.
Sure. Yep. If needed, if the taxes and the state grant does not support the increase in the budget, we do have the cash balances to support this increase. I have discussed with the Department of Local Government. I've spoke to our representative. She's reviewed the Form 3, and she says the Form 3 looks wonderful. We also do not have any increases in our debt or referendum. The one thing I want to point out in the debt service fund, we realigned the debt payments to go inside with the budget. They were actually outlined in the budget, so we had to always request additional appropriations in order to cover those payments. Do we have any questions about the form?
So I would like for you, just for clarity, you talked about additional appropriations. I want to make it clear about when, why, and how we do additional appropriations, because we are within the confines of the law.
We are. Typically, additional appropriations are for those items that are unforeseen, that happen throughout the school year. You know, let's say we have a building shut down and we need a new HVAC unit, things of that nature, that were not typically built into the budget. We try to think of everything, but there are certain costs that just happen throughout the school year. So those additional appropriations have to go to the Department of Local Government, and in order for them to approve those appropriations, we must have the cash in order to fulfill those expenses.
This include the recovery of our tornado that hit our facility?
Yes, what's really nice about that is I've been working with the insurance company, and they have proposed in excess of $2 million to cover the cost of that.
Wonderful.
And we are well under it,
Wonderful.
yes. Any other questions about the Form 3? And after this, if you all do have any questions, I for sure can answer your questions at a later date before we actually propose on October 23rd the approval of the budget. That meeting will be October 23rd at 1 p.m.
Thank you. We're moving on to the
Capital projects. I worked with my interim director of maintenance on this proposed capital projects. The capital projects plan will start in 2026, and it's actually for 3 years. So all of these projects that are listed on here don't have to be completed this next budget cycle. These are just things we know need to be done in these buildings. The state of our buildings is, it's serious. We have to replace HVAC units. We have units that are 60 years old, and they are failing, and currently we are putting Band-Aids on them right now. So all of these projects will not be done in actual 2026. As you can see, I have estimated start dates and end dates. And as we go through this, we will kind of update you as we work on these projects. Are there any questions or concerns?
This estimated project cost for the HVAC, the boilers and chillers, this is going to be all of our facilities?
Yes, it will be.
And the thing we need to say about that is, while we estimate a start date, we know at any given time, if something were to happen, we would have to start sooner.
Sure, we would pivot, yep. Yes. Next, I would like to go over our bus replacement plan. Currently, we have one working activity bus. I am proposing to eliminate a lot of the costs costs that we contract out with bus service for our extracurricular, for athletics. So I did receive estimates on these buses. I did also look into like a 44 passenger bus, and those buses are 2 years out in being developed. So that really wouldn't do any good for us right now. So these 2 activity buses, I've viewed pictures of them, and I feel with the cost that we incur monthly for contracted services is roughly around $30,000 a month to, transfer our students to all of their activities. These 2 buses, that cost would outweigh itself if we purchased 2 activity buses. We have teachers, we have coaches who are already certified to drive activity buses and are willing to do that. Any questions? I know this is probably something that we haven't really looked at previously, but I do think with the contracted services and the contracts that we did not sign on these contracts. These were multi-year contracts. So these costs in the last 3 years, every year it goes up.
So we're just trying to find a way that we can control, even though our busing services are outsourced, and as many of you know, we're over 51 square miles, what is it, 52, 53 square miles or something in Gary. We have to have buses. However, we've tried to figure a path forward to lessen the impact, the financial impact, and we can do that through our athletic programs if we have our coaches, 14 passenger buses drive our students that are, to these events. It would save us some money.
In the end, yes, it would, yes.
So why the difference in cost between the 2?
One has a seat belt for handicapped, and the other one does not. There's just some small differential items within the bus. And these were the 2 my director of transportation had found.
Certainly appreciate the proactive thinking in looking at this alternative. Just a quick question.
Sure.
Passenger load here seems to be right at 28. Is that enough to facilitate our needs for most of our after hour?
It is, and with the current activity bus that we also have in-house,
Okay.
that would also help, like, let's say the football team. Even though they probably only have like 5 games, I believe that these 3 activity buses could support that. Yes.
Very good. Any additional questions?
And if you do after this meeting, please let me know.
Just a question. You stated that, the current activity buses are under contract. That contract is running out now?
The contract will run out in June. Yes, and we will be going out for an RFP
In
to
June?
contract a new,
Well, prior to June, but
Correct.
next year, June.
yes, we will. Yep. All of these contracts that, other than the food service contract, were under previous administration. So we have to finish the contracts out. Also with our cleaning services as well.
Any further questions? Thank you for the presentation.
Sure.
I'll
Thank you.
entertain a motion to adjourn special meeting.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and properly second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will start the next meeting.
This is a lawsuit. But I'm like, who else is right? These letters.
I'd like to call to order the regular school board meeting for Gary Community School Boards for Thursday, October 9th. May we stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To confirm we have a legal meeting, may we have roll call to confirm quorum.
Mr. Suggs,
Present.
Dr. Woods,
Present.
Attorney Irvin,
Present.
Attorney Lockett,
Present.
and I am also present. 5 members are present, 9 absent.
With 5 members present, we have quorum. We may proceed with the meeting. I'd like to start the meeting with public comment. Mr. Vice President.
Pursuant to Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3, the Gary Community School Corporation Board of Trustees welcomes comments from the community. As a result, the agenda for each regular meeting provides time for public expression. The period of public expression is limited to 3 minutes per individual and 30 minutes total discussion of items on the agenda or to express concerns relative to the operation of the school setting, school board actions, and other items of general educational interest. There are many people wishing to address the board, limited amount of time a person may speak. Comments shall be directed to the board, not to individual board members. Statements shall not be abusive or argumentative. Persons making comments shall not debate statements made by others. It shall not be permissible to orally present or discuss complaints against individual employees of the Gary Community School Corporation at any Board of School Trustees meetings. Issues relating to personnel, individual circumstances, or an individual school will be referred to the building principal or an appropriate administrator in an attempt to resolve the issue prior to an appeal before the board. The speaker cannot transfer the remaining time to another person. The board president will enforce these rules and may take actions necessary to maintain order at the meeting. Such actions may include, but are not limited to, interrupting the speaker if the statement is too lengthy, unduly repetitive, or otherwise violates the rules. The president may terminate the address of any speaker who violates these rules, or limit the total amount of time devoted to public comment if there's a large number of people wishing to address the board, or if there's a large agenda of other business before the board.
Thank you, Vice President Johnson. I'm going to pause for a moment and restart portions of the agenda that I skipped, and that will start out with the approval of tonight's agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly seconding. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda has been approved. And of course, we are ready for our Gary snapshots. Ms. Chelsea Whittington, please.
Indeed, it's all about being ready, Mr. Suggs. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Stokes, and this incredible community. My name is Chelsea Whittington, and I proudly serve as the Chief of Public and Community Relations for your Gary Community School Corporation. It's now time for the section of the agenda that we have titled Gary Ready Snapshots. It's our opportunity to highlight events and happenings across the district that may have taken place and things that we have to look forward to. Today, I am excited to highlight some things that have happened in the district, namely College Go Week. So College Go Week is a national initiative where students engage in activities around extending their education beyond elementary or K through 12. The good thing that we do in the Gary Community School Corporation is incorporated across all grades. And so not only are you seeing images of our students attending the Urban League of Northwest Indiana's College Fair held at Indiana University Northwest, but you're also seeing scenes from Bailey Middle School, where they are being introduced to various career opportunities. And then also Beveridge Elementary School, where we see in the middle photo, our First Lady, Crystal Melton, along with professionals from the city and the community who speak with our children. And one of my favorites, right in the middle, is where we actually have a NISCO employee showing one of our scholars actual activities that they could be participating in once they do all the necessary things. Look a little familiar, Mr. Suggs, that NISCO jacket there. Moving forward after College Go Week, we also had Family Engagement Week. This was 5 days of engaging our parents and our families, and you will hear us school board meeting, community forum, or whatever platform we can tout that we are definitely working hard to engage our parents and our families. This too is a national initiative where we put our own spin on it, and the activities were spearheaded and planned by our own public relations specialist, Crystal O'Brien. And the scenes that you are seeing here are parents and administrators actively engaging in information surrounding resources available to parents. They were also allowed to take a tour of the school building over at Westside to take a look at some of the security measures, as safety is one of the concerns that we want to address on a regular basis, to know that parents know that their scholars are safe, along with our staff and administration and visitors who come into our buildings. You may recall that on yesterday, the Gary Community School Corporation made the front page for these activities around school safety, and we'll go back that slide. They made the front page around school safety and that tour that was granted by our Director of Security, Mr. Cliff Caldwell. Speaking of Cliff Caldwell, he also was a part of our Coffee with a Cop, which is a national initiative that was held last Wednesday, October 1st. And there you see where he is speaking with parents who stopped by, had some coffee, and we were also afforded the opportunity to hear from our superintendent. If you go to our YouTube page or our Facebook page, you will see a live conversation of Coffee with a Cop, so that for parents and community members who were unable to attend, they were able to join us virtually, ask questions, or watch it back at a later time. Down below in the bottom right corner, we have our Director of Curriculum, Dr. Renita Craig. She too addressed our parents during Parent Engagement Week to talk about things like test scores and behavior matrices and all the different things that are taking place in curriculum. So what am I saying about Family Engagement Week? We were really engaged from Monday through Friday with both in-person and virtual opportunities. So if you weren't able to participate, we do invite you to visit our website and social media platforms and YouTube to catch up on some of the things that we had going on that week. Great job, Crystal. Also part of those activities were the co-creation and involvement of the parents of various resources and input that we wanted from our parents. So if you saw on the previous slide, they were writing and doing sticky notes, and then we took that data and put it into a variety of buckets that include school partnership opportunities, school campus safety, security, mental health and stress supports, as well as any type of confrontations that may happen in the buildings and how we resolve them with conflict resolution. And these are the different topics that the parents and the community were coming up with that they wanted to know more about, they wanted to be involved, and they wanted to receive resources on. And so that's when you take those notes and put them into a format where they can be shared, which we share on our social, and you will also be able to find these documents on our website. The next thing that has taken place in the district is our community asset mapping. And what that basically means is we've launched an initiative that is designed to spotlight local businesses and put Gary back on the map as a hub of innovation and community pride. Through a statewide platform hosted on the InSource website, local businesses can create a profile that connects them with families, community members, and other business owners across the state of Indiana. And this is more than just exposure. This means it's an opportunity to showcase their services, strengthen connections, and drive both economic and educational growth. So what we're doing at the district is encouraging local business owners to join our map and simply scan this QR code or visit our website for the direct link to get started, and we can highlight Gary's vibrant community, not only to our community, but to the entire state. So you're starting to see a pattern here. We are constantly introducing our families, our parents, our scholars, our community stakeholders to resources that exist right here in our city, further connecting us as a school community. And last but not least, what time is it? It's homecoming time. Next week is Westside Leadership Academy's homecoming week, where we will square off against the Calumet Warriors. And so game time is Friday, October 17th. There's a tailgate party that's going to be hosted by our own Calumet Township trustee Ty Atkins, who's a proud Cougar, from 3 to 6, and game time is at 7. And if you head over to the Westside Facebook page and social media, you'll see all the different activities that the young people are engaging in throughout the week, whether it's dress up days, spirit week, pep rallies, all the things that we love to do. And we sincerely and cordially invite all of you under the sound of my voice to please support our young people. It's just something about them playing better, feeling better, and doing better when they see our faces in the stands. Go Cougars, paws up. This concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Attorney Lockett. I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just for the Parent Engagement Week, was it well attended?
We had great attendance online for Coffee with the Cop, and we had great attendance on Friday with our community when we wrapped it up with our parent engagement, where you saw they were in the library and then they were in classrooms. And so we're still tracking. We also have parents who are logging on now. And 2 of our activities were also virtual. So on Monday it was virtual. On Thursday we had a Skyward training over at Williams, which was in person and virtual. And we had some great attendance virtually. It was lower in person. And the great thing about what we did with Parent Engagement Week is we altered the different times. So some were in the morning, some were in the afternoon, some were virtual, and all of them are available for those who weren't able to participate to go back and access. It is our goal always to continue to grow these opportunities, but that's just one week. We have something going on for parents every week in the district.
Okay, I asked that question just as having been a parent in the district. I know that a lot of times most of the parent engagement things, the parent-teacher conferences, everything is seen, there was never anything going on after 5:30 when a lot of parents got off of work. And so that's why I asked that question, just in terms of parent engagement. If we want to get them out, then maybe we should start trying to do some things when they are off work. Yes. Even now with this meeting starting at 4:30, a lot of people aren't off work yet. So just be cognizant that the vast majority of us have to work for a living.
Yes, and we are cognizant. We have polled our parents, and these time frames are the ones that seem to be most accommodating. But for those who aren't, we are doing Saturday events. We invite you to come out to our breast cancer volleyball tournament this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We constantly post things because there are other activities that are 5 o'clock and beyond, but there's so many across 11 buildings. We pick a few for the Gary snapshots, but so noted. And we definitely have those virtual options because we're going to have some time is they'll never be able to make it, but we love them too, and we want to make sure they have those resources as well. Thanks for your input. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Whittington.
Thank you.
We will now move on to item 4 again, public comments. And we will go to 4.2, and we will start out with Dr. Spanglenberg.
Good afternoon again. I want to say that I really welcome the comments on availability for parents that aren't already involved. Because if we're polling parents, and those parents that we're polling are saying, yes, these times work for me, perhaps it's because of the parents that are already involved. And so then we get like a self-feeding kind of thing. We either need to find better ways of gathering that data, and it'd be nice to have some transparency around that data, or maybe we just need to experiment with opening it up more and seeing what happens. Other things. So, in terms of this, I appreciate the clock went away before for the budget hearing. That was very useful. But the one thing that I hope that in future budget hearings we can do is actually have a presentation before the public comment, because unlike every other type of meeting we have, there's no need to have public comment first because you're doing the approval at a different meeting. It's very hard because then it's like you don't even know half of what you're responding to as a community member. And along with that, we seem to never actually attach anything to the board docs before or during the meetings. So if you look at the current meeting, right now on board docs, the public view, there's like nothing there except the outline, and that makes it very hard for the public to comment on too. I'm glad to see the materials are available for past meetings, and there's more materials than previous. That's fantastic. Although for things like, for instance, personnel report, you probably should be actually putting the salaries in there. Especially because like when you look at the budget and you look at the number for this year, like that's one of the areas where we're not doing as well. We're not where we should be in terms of salaries. So it'd be nice to have transparency around that. Further, because of that, when I looked at the projections for the budget next year, I noticed that we are projecting $5 million less for salaries, and that doesn't quite make sense. Even if you take into account the 1.2 million that is probably going to come over for referendum for that's projected. And even if you start thinking, well, maybe we can move the referendum balance forward since we have an extra like 6% on that currently, you're still not where you're at. So how are you going to be negotiating with teachers in a fair way if, similar to what MGT used to do, you're already projecting that you're going to somehow pay people less? That's very troubling. I also want to say I was very once I got to hear the budget thing, it was more helpful. I do think clarification around whether excess transfers for last year was supposed to be 15% or more would be useful, because that had changed rapidly, and I think we went to 18% that year. Thank you for this year.
Ms. Reedus?
Good evening, Mr. Stokes, Mr. Suggs, I'm sorry, Dr. Stokes and board members. Mary Ann Canterbury is retired licensed teacher for the Gary Community School Corporation. I'm coming to you because it's budget time, and we'd like for you to put the retired teachers in your budget. We're only asking the board, I'm coming to you many times, asking you for $2.50 more on our hourly salary. When I said something to her, she laughed at me. I talked to the human resource. She said that wasn't her job. I talked to the union president. She said she only represented our teachers and parents. So I'm here to talk about my license. Some of them have life license, and some of them are licensed for 10 years. So that's making all of us look really good, that we have licensed teachers with the Gary Community School Corporation. So please consider us in your budget, $2.50 more, hourly salary. And I'd like to know, can you tell me how many licensed teachers are in our corporation? You can email. Also, our libraries. Some of our our school libraries in the elementary schools don't have anybody in them. I've talked to Dr. Stokes before about Indiana University and Purdue University students coming in, 8 to 12, 9 to 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just a little time to let our kindergarten, first graders and second graders, and maybe third graders come into the library and see how it is. They may not be able to go downtown or to Miller or to Glen Park to a public library. And since we have them in our schools, I think it would be very nice if they would be able to use them. I have on pink today because Beverage every Thursday is representing American Cancer. Thank you.
Tamika Pope.
Good evening, Dr. Stokes and the board. I am Tamika Pope. I am a Gary teacher here in the Gary Community Schools. I am a citizen of Gary and a product of Gary Schools. I was one of the most supportive ones that you had. I was at the meet and greet for the board. Meet and greet for the superintendent was very, very helpful. However, I was a little disappointed because normally at our convocation, the board is there, giving us greetings, giving us encouraging words, and I didn't see anybody but the new board member at our convocation, so that was a little disappointing. As a teacher, you know it's hard. We're tired already and it's October. And I remember when I used to go to school, we used to see the board members at the schools because these are your schools. And we haven't seen you all. We need support. We don't have the retired teachers anymore to do the intervention, and the students are struggling. All we have is the teachers getting pushed on, given more and more that they have to do in the classroom when maybe 50% of the students are not even on grade level. And so that extra support that we have from interventions were really, really helpful, and now we don't have that. So we need some support. If somebody wants to come and help or give a hand, and just wondering, besides the Gary Snapchat, do you all know the things that's going on in the district? Our school has the WOW Club, which is Williams on Wheels, and the students are riding their bikes to and from school every morning. Yesterday we had a walk and roll, and I know Ms. Scott invited others to come out and support us as well, and just wondering if you guys were aware of that. We had Williams STEM Club last year, and the students were in all type of newspapers, recognition from Dr. Vernon Smith. The IUN was one of our partners, and they were recognized at their school for the partnership that we had. We had a partnership with the electricians, the local electricians, and it's just a lot of things that's going on, and there are positive things. So we might always complain and say we're tired. We are very tired, but there's also things that teachers are doing because they love the students. One concern I do have, though, I am a Project Lead the Way teacher, which is a project-based class, and I am made aware that we are now being forced to pilot a literacy program in our class instead of giving us the support of things that we need to give the students the STEM or project-based learning that they need in our class, because they really enjoy doing the hands-on. And so I would not really want to do the literacy part because they're doing that all day long. So just ask for a little bit of support, and we would love to see you in our schools. Thank you.
Mrs. Elton.
Good evening. To our board superintendent, board president, board members, and others. I am Mrs. Lavetta Tyndall, and I am a Gary resident and taxpayer of Gary. I am a 1966 graduate of the historically renowned and architecturally profound educational institution, Roosevelt High School. My questions today are, when? And what is the status regarding our swimming pool? I hope pools, but we'll take one as a start. 2, what's the status of the West Side High School roof? Replaced, in line for repair, still dripping? What's the status? What one is a new roof? 3, what are you doing to support the Roosevelt High School structure and adjoining properties? What are you doing to ensure that it is moving towards a point of importance and favorable, positive contribution to the growth of our fine city of Gary, Indiana? What are you doing? The last time I talked with Ms. Tolbert, she indicated that she was not receiving support, the financial support from this body that she expected when she came on board here. What are you doing? What are you planning to do? We want the Roosevelt High School properties to remain as a part of this city and to be functional. Thank you very much. Oh, one more thing. Attorney Lockett,
Yes, ma'am.
welcome to the board.
I appreciate that.
And thank you so much for your comments from the parental side. We do need to be more considerate of our parents and their time. We have many parents that work, as we know, and to come home from work and to do what they need to do and then come to a board meeting by 5 or 6 would be more readily, seemingly logical, rather than having working people expected to come to a meeting at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. I would ask that this board be just a little more sensitive and give that some thought regarding future planning and scheduling of these meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item 5 on our agenda tonight, and I will entertain a motion for our consent agenda, items 5.1 through 5.7.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the items on our consent agenda, items 5.1 through 5.7.
So the motion on the floor, may I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Irving. Yeah. Attorney Lockett,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. With the vote of 5-0, motion carries.
Motion has been approved. Let's move on to item 6 on our agenda. Zambrowski again?
Good evening again. As you all know, McCullough was hit by a tornado on March 19th. In the original RFQ, request for quote, there was a section of the 3rd tier roof that was not provided in the quote. So we had to go out for bid again to repair that area. Our architect went out, provided the criteria for the roof repair to several different roofing places within Gary and the surrounding areas. We received 3 quotes back. I am requesting the board approve the Corellis, which is the lowest priced bid for the repair. This is there's a 3rd tier, but some of the material from when it first hit went to the 2nd, and then it actually went to the 3rd, so there were puncture wounds in the roof. So this will repair that. We did notice this when on the 2nd floor we had some water coming in. So we sent them all back out to reassess it. Any questions about this?
Board members, if you click on your 6.1 in your folders, the attachments, all of your attachments are there. We're on 6.1 at this time.
And this has been communicated to our adjuster with the insurance company. And we are still in line with the total amount that they proposed for this repair.
Give them just a moment.
Sure.
Can you repeat who you're recommending?
I am recommending Corellis. I believe in your attachments that is probably the first one.
And Corellis was the vendor who did the previous.
That is correct, yes. Yes, under Powers and Sons, yes. They were the general contractor on this job.
Any additional questions?
Yes. Thank you. So I'm looking at this quote, it's 185,915. And so that is for just the part that was missed, or is that for the whole thing?
No, it's for the part that was missed. Part of the roof was already repaired. The second and the first tier roofs were repaired. This is that third piece.
And so when this is gonna be covered by insurance?
It is, yes.
Okay, that's all I got.
Hearing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
There's been moved and properly second. Any discussion on this motion? May we have roll call for approval, please?
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Irvin,
Yes.
Attorney Lockett,
Yes.
I vote yes, and Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
5-0.
5 members voting yes and 0 against. The motion carries and the item has been approved.
Thank you.
I'd like to move on to item 6.2 on our agenda. Dr. Stokes, please.
Okay, if you look on the board here, I'm gonna talk about this, and I will take a little more time because these are actually policies that the board has already approved. However, because there's been some change in Indiana code or federal law from our previous adopted policies, I don't have to take this through 2 readings, but I do need to bring this back, and I'm gonna highlight a few of the changes and the why. If you look up here, you will see that some policies are the replacement. For example, the first 3, 1422, 3122, and 4122, those are actual replacements. But if you look down, you see the next group where you see them being rescinded. They're being rescinded because what's happening is in the first 3 that I read, they basically combined them. So they're basically setting school districts up to have less policies, which is real good because we have a lot. So they're combining some of the policies and they're rescinding others. One of the things, though, I did want to highlight a couple things. For example, policy 2260, which talks about non-discrimination and access to equal educational opportunities, it's been revised. And one of the reasons that it's been revised is in response to the United States Department of Education's February 2025 Dear Colleague letter and subsequent executive order. It suggested that the term gender status, sexual orientation, or gender identity be removed from the parenthetical definition of sex. So in that policy, the language and the guidance is changing, so they had to basically revise the policy. Another revision is policy 2260.01, which deals with section 504 of the ADA, prohibition against discrimination based on disability. That has also been revised, and it incorporates some of the changes made in Indiana Code 20-33-8. It basically was one of the policies by HEA, which is the House Education Act 1483 that deals with bullying, from 2023, which requires that schools prioritize safety of the victim of bullying. So that's another policy that was changed. A policy that was revised is policy, thank you. A policy that was revised is policy 2266, which deals with non-discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs or activity. And that policy was revised because the Attorney General said it's necessary because on June 23, 2025, the National Incidence-Based Reporting System, which we call NIPRS, their definition of fondling changed. So the term officially is criminal sexual contact now. That term has changed. So because of some of the changes in terminology or knowledge about specific information that we got from either the feds or our Attorney General or the state, we've had to rescind or change some of our policies. And one last policy that I want to talk about that's been rescinded is policy 2266, which is the non-discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs or activities. This is the use for hearings only. It basically says that the version of policy 2266 is duplicative so that we didn't need both. So they rescinded one as they gave another. We talked about these policies at our policy meeting. So with that being said, that's kind of what I wanted to highlight. And this is something that would require board action. Remember that we've already approved these policies, but based on federal law, state law, or Attorney General recommendations, we now have to just re-vote again on these policies.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. Any questions from board members on the presentation?
I do.
Please.
Not really a question, just that, at least I can imagine for people sitting out here, when you put that on there, perhaps there could be, even if it's online, but it'd be better for us to print out, just so we just, when we're looking, we just see it says revised, but no context to how it was revised.
Okay, I'm happy to try to share more, but that was my purpose of reading the revisions, is so that we would understand what they were. But I'm happy to do that.
No, I don't want you to go through it just in terms of for the public, like policy 3231, outside activities of staff revised. How was it revised? What happened? What changed? And I don't want you to answer that for everyone, just if somebody was curious that they know where to find the information and the changes, maybe red line. I don't know.
All right, if it's the express will of the board, I'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
I would think it'd be the will of the public, but again.
Any additional questions? Hearing no questions, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Dr. Woods.
Yes.
Attorney Irvin.
Yes.
Attorney Lockett.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
The vote is 5-0.
With a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against, the motion carries. Item number 6.3, Ms. Sikovich.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Stokes in the community of the Gary Community School Corporation. We are asking for approval for a partnership with Lewis & Kappas. Lewis & Kappas is the firm that represents the district and has done so for a number of years for specifically special education needs. So anything regarding support in special education, needing legal guidance, that is a very unique need, and so we would encourage you to consider Lewis & Kappas because of their long-standing history, not only with the Gary Community School Corporation, but also with their historical ability to support districts across the entire state.
Thank you. Any questions on the presentation? I would ask, is this a school year 25-26 agreement?
It's a great question. The reason that we're bringing it to you today is because we realized last school year when we all came into play that Lewiston campus was actually representing the district historically, but we never had an actual memorandum of understanding. And so now that 1 year timeline is up, and we just want to make sure that we bring these recommendations for renewal to the board, that they're just not standing out there, that they are expected to renew on an annual basis. We ask the board to renew it on an annual basis.
Thank you. And the term of this agreement, is there a not to exceed amount or is there an hourly rate?
The hourly rate is the industry standard. Great questions. Within the actual agreement, it is $250 per hour for an attorney, and there are varying rates within the agreement, whether it's for a paralegal or for other witnesses to come forth as experts.
Any additional questions on the request? Hearing no questions, may we have roll call for approval, please? I'm sorry. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
The move properly second. Are there any questions? Now may we have a roll call?
Dr. Woods.
Yes.
Attorney Irvin.
Yes.
Attorney Lockett.
Yes.
I vote yes, and Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
With 5 members voting yes and 0 against, the request for legal services agreement has been approved. We will move now to item 6.4, contract approval.
I apologize for the delay. I should never have sat down. So Patrice Fierro has been, again, historically supporting the district with supervision for our CNA program. So right here at the Gary Area Career Center, we provide opportunities for our students within the Gary Community School Corporation, but also through surrounding districts for students to become certified as certified nursing assistants. In order for that program to move forward, there must be supervision from a registered nurse. This particular agreement does have a not to exceed portion, which is $2,500. It is $60 per hour for this registered nurse to provide the supervision specifically to the instructor, providing the instruction to those students who are seeking certification as a CNA.
Any questions on the request? Hearing no questions, may we have roll call for approval, please? Oh my goodness. May we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing no questions, may we have roll call, please?
Dr. Woods.
Yes.
Attorney Irvin.
Yeah.
Attorney Lockett.
Yes.
I vote yes, and Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 against, the motion carries. Item 6.5.
Get my steps in tonight. So there are a variety of MOUs, also known as, they are known as Memorandums of Understanding. They are all in order to support our students here at the Gary Community School Corporation. As an example, the first one, Ivy Tech High School-based dual credit, provides an opportunity for our students who take a variety of courses, whether it's in criminal justice or any other course that is allowable for dual credit, to be then receiving that college credit while they're in high school. City Connects is a memorandum of understanding where we support wraparound type services with our students within the school setting. Project Lead the Way, as one of our teachers spoke about today, is more of a STEM-based opportunity for our students. Khan Academy is a curricular-based option. The U.S. Army JROTC, which is at Westside Leadership Academy, provides opportunities for our students to receive the opportunity to participate in JROTC, which opens so many more doors for them when they're approaching college. Marian University, the Gary Area Career Center, is connected a bit with City Connects that also provides those wraparound services. River Forest is a new school district who is partnering with the Gary Area Career Center. Their students are coming here and providing, we receive monies in order for those students to receive instruction here and certification at the Gary Area Career Center. And Indiana Wesleyan, and both the university itself as well as the Step Up program provides opportunities for our teachers to partner with Wesleyan to pursue their degrees in teaching. We have Steel City Academy, which also partners here with us to send their students to the Gary Area Career Center, and Lighthouse College Prep Academy, again, has their students come here for a fee to receive services here and instruction at the Gary Area Career Center.
Thank you. I'd like to open up the floor for questions. Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Attorney Lockett? I'll say Attorney Lockett second.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call, please?
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Irvin,
Yes.
Attorney Light.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
vote is 5-0.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 against, the motion carries. And now we're at item 6.6, request for approval of field and conference experiences. May we have some details on the experiences?
Good evening, Dr. Stokes and our school board. The next week on October 14th, the Boeing Airfield has provided an opportunity for our students in our middle schools and our high schools to have a field experience at the Boeing Airport, where they're going to have a plethora of activities for our students to enjoy, as well as other schools, charter schools within the Gary area community. The students they have a full curriculum that the students will be able to participate in. They will be broken off into many different areas, and we're taking about 125 students from our middle schools and our high schools so that they can participate in that particular experience.
As well, we have other, as you can see, I don't want to be reading something that I know you see, but we've got other experiences that are traditional, like our Bethune. We have the County Line Apple Orchard. I think many people know that that's an activity that our students have historically gone to. The Westside Leadership Academy, we've got the Lake County Fairgrounds in Crown Point. We've got other activities that deal with more of Gary Area Career Center, that deal with some of our construction and skill type activities that we want students to be a part of so that they learn trades. We've got experiences even for the students to go to, like the Destiny's Dreamers, the daycare center, so that they can learn boots on the ground, how to support students. So as you see, we've got these various experiences that we're asking for. We also have conference experiences so that our adult learners as well can have activities to be professionally developed. And as you see, we've got like the administrative review training session so that we can have more insight on what is required with basis and changes in the law. We've got IASCO, which stands for the Indiana Alliance of School Board Officials. We've got the regional meeting that's scheduled for that. In the near future, you will actually see something on here that will be actually board members who will be getting more conference experience, because we will be having the regional meeting that's going to be coming up. So we often put these activities on so that you know that we are supporting our students in field experiences, but we're also supporting our staff with conference experiences so that they can be professionally developed.
Thank you. I'd like to open the floor for board members. Questions on this presentation?
Yes. Dr. Stokes, could you talk more about the North Lake Methodist Hospital field experience?
Okay, I'm gonna have someone from the curriculum department to talk more about that, but if they can at this time, I'll have to talk to our presenter. Come on back up. Thank you. She wants to talk about the North Lake Methodist Hospital, the experience that our Gary Area Career Center students are gonna go to for one of our medical programs.
Absolutely. This is just an additional opportunity for our students to see the medical field up close and personal. We already are partnering with some of the Ivy Tech schools so that our students can get that exposure to the medical field. And so our students will get an opportunity to see the various careers that they can possibly go into after high school.
Why is it so expensive? Which for the audience is $8,963.25.
I think it's part of.
No, so that's more,
Please, I'm just curious.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I could add to it a little bit. So those are the actual work hours. It's more extensive because it's with our Career Center students that are getting the hours required for them to get certifications like their CNA license and things like that. So they're doing it over the course of the semester, and it's more extensive than just a one-time field experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions on the field experiences or the conference experience? Thank you for the presentation.
And I will add that if the dates on the North Lake Methodist Hospital experience does say from October 27th through March 27th. So it's not a one-time deal.
No, I appreciate that. It doesn't say through, so I thought that was just two separate dates, October 27th.
That's a fair
March
question.
27th.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're right.
Hearing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Actually, please,
Mr. Irvin,
Attorney Irvin,
Second.
please say something.
Yeah.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call, please?
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Irvin,
Yes.
Attorney Lockett,
Yes.
I vote yes, and Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
Votes 5-0.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 against, the motion carries for the approval of the field experiences and the conference experience. Moving on to item number 7 on our agenda, 7.1, presentation on the Gary Library Board update.
Greetings to members of the board, Dr. Stokes, and members of the community. First, I would like to start out with a very special thank you to our library board president, Dr. Lucille Washington, for her presence tonight and her support. Okay, thank you. And a very special thank you to Crystal O'Brien and team for their patience with me today. Thank you. I also would like to extend a thank you to the entire board for my reappointment and for entrusting me with the business affairs and fiduciary responsibilities of the Gary Public Library Board. That reappointment happened this June of 25, and wanted to recognize all thrivers and survivors of breast cancer and domestic violence for this month. So I just want to start out with reminding the community that the Gary Public Library is indeed the people's university. And the mission of the Gary Public Library is to strengthen and support the education, enjoyment, and lifelong learning skills of our community by working to provide equal access to information, ideas, and knowledge through books, programs, and other resources. When schools and public libraries collaborate, they bring about opportunities to allow students more profound learning experiences outside of the classroom. Sharing resources is one of the most obvious ways that public libraries can assist their colleagues. In most cases, students, teachers, or librarians in a school can borrow or place holds on materials needed from the library. Some of the valuable services that we offer to support the Gary Community School Corporation are extension services, children's computer labs, summer reading program, online resources, our Techmobile, and our Makerspace. So I'm gonna have you follow along with the handout that I've given you. So just really quickly, Crystal, you don't have the one that I sent you earlier today.
This is the one that was just emailed.
Okay, all right.
You mean the
Well, I'm
extra
glad that-
slide?
Yeah.
No, I was not able to, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you. So if you guys can follow along there in your packet. Today was a really big rollout for the Gary Public Library with the Dolly Parton Imagination Station. It's a program, a literacy program that Dolly Parton enacted in 1995 all throughout the United States, but Indiana didn't adopt it until 2023. Governor Holcomb set aside about $6 million for that program to be active throughout the state of Indiana. But in 2025, as we know, there have been so many cuts to library funding and programs. And it was cut in January of 2025. And so the current governor has tasked his wife with literacy programs of her own, and she's been tasked with finding funding to keep the Dolly Parton Imagination Station program alive. So today at the Gary Public Library, the First Lady of the state came to visit and read aloud to our children, along with members of the White family, the Barbara Dean and White Center, and along with members of the Legacy Foundation. So the White family and the Legacy Foundation have made substantial contributions privately to keep the program alive. If you turn to the next page here, just really briefly, we too are in budget time at the library. And as most of you know, throughout the United States, libraries are faced with massive funding cuts. Within the state of Indiana, it's known as Senate Bill 1. And with Senate Bill 1, we're gonna start seeing those cuts start in 2026 and gradually increase and really see substantial limitations by 28. However, we love our library and we have revamped our Friends of the Library recruitment effort. And so with the help of the school board, perhaps Nippon Steel, Legacy Foundation, and NiSource could become members of the Friends of the Library to help keep the library afloat in all the programs. Now, the next slide says a request for key accounts for Expo Rep. But if you turn the page, our library director put together a spreadsheet of what it's cost us from the beginning of the year to essentially August of 25. And what became alarming to her, if you look at the very last line where it says Maine, from April, May, June, and July, you see a substantial difference from December, January, February, and March, right above, we're just looking at the main library branch. And so what NIPSCO has done throughout the county, they've gone and put these new electric meters out, and we experience a discrepancy in billing. So just very simply stated tonight, we are looking for a key accounts rep to help us navigate this, to make sure that our bills are a bit more accurate. So if someone from the board, particularly you, Mr. Suggs, if we can have a key contact, like some big corporations normally have, ever so grateful to have a key contact to help us at the library to get this situated. Okay, if you turn the page here, this is my very last slide here. It's called a planting the seed slide. And so I wish I had I wish that everyone could see this slide here. I put it together because the momentum within Gary surrounding the revitalization currently within the city, it's just at an all-time high. It's just so exciting, a really exciting time within the community. And the library would love to be in lockstep with the city and the current administration. We do not want to be left behind. So on this slide, for the members of the community, I have an example of 3 trailblazers. The first one is Harold Washington, and we all know he was the first Black mayor elected to the city of Chicago, and I have an image here of his library. A very beautiful library, a very coveted space for many galas throughout the city of Chicago. The next one would be Barack Obama, and we are all very excited about his library that is currently being erected and constructed by Powers and Sons. And the third is the Honorable Karen Freeman Wilson. And it is the vision of the library board to one day erect a new library and pay homage to her trailblazing efforts as the first Black female mayor of any Indiana city within the state of Indiana. So that is just, again, planting the seed. We want to be in lockstep with the city. We're excited with all the momentum and revitalization, and we would like to be a part of those discussions and efforts. Let's see here. And essentially, that concludes my report this time. Last time it was very detailed about all of the things that we were doing. Just really detailed information, but this time it's budget time for us. We're making sure that our team members are supported, and again, professional development as well. We're making sure that our director is in lockstep with the board and revising our long-range strategic and technological plan that must be updated every 3 years and submitted to the state. And so I just wanted to just come again, thank you all for the opportunity to serve again on the board, and that concludes my report. Thank you. Any questions?
I'd like to ask the board member, are there any questions or comments? For one, I'd like to answer your request for an advocate, and I'd be happy to advocate on behalf of the libraries.
Thank you.
With the NIPSCO NiSource Corporation.
Thank you.
Would ask if you could share with me some information on the Friends of the Library.
Yes.
So that I can share that along with my request.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Not only for financial support, but also for clarification on the billing concern that you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or thoughts? Thank you so much for being here and your service.
Thank you.
I'd like to move now to item 7.2. Dr. Stokes.
Thank you. Crystal, if you can put up the first reading for informational purposes. While she's doing that, I just want to take a point of privilege and remind our board of how we've set up the policies. If you all recall, you've appointed Dr. Johnson Woods to lead the policy sessions of which she comes and she gives her stamp as representing the board. I also want to remind the board members that we provide information to you all 48 hours before, and you all have access to the board docs, to go into board docs and to look at each of these policies that we are providing for first and second read before we actually finalize it. And then I also want to remind the board that then after we put the information is out on the policy website. Once Neola, which is the company that we work for, they scan through and make sure that we've not misstepped and that we are in compliance with the law as we make some choices. Because for some things we don't get a choice, but for some things we do get a choice. They then are public to the community. The community can log on, and we've shown, I think, at least 3 times how to log on to board docs so that the community can look at information. I also want to remind that if we need, Aaron is willing to come back and teach our community again how to log on and look at policies. So with that said, we have these policies up. I'm not going to go through all of them, but do understand that before we actually vote on them, you've got your rep here who is representing the board, as well as they are out there for your viewing, and then once you voted on them, they become something that the public can then see. With that being said, I want to just call our attention to some of the policies that are listed up here that you see for this first reading. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the policy 0167.2, which is executive session. And that while we have been doing this and following the law, if you all recall, we had no policies on the book when we came in. So we do things slightly different because we have hundreds of policies that need to be out there and we had none. So with that being said, we do things in kind of a fast pace. As we get caught up, we will come to the board with 1 or 2 where we're able to literally list everything and have it showing to support some of the board's desires. But I do want to talk about policy 0167.2, which is the executive session. That policy basically is talking about under which types of settings you can have an executive session and what those purposes are for. We do follow the law. Attorney Tobert always makes sure that we are following the law, but some of the things that are able to do is we're authorized by federal or state statute the discussion of strategy with respects to collective bargaining, which does not include a discussion of the meeting under the Indiana Code. Initiation of litigation or litigation which is pending has been threatened in writing for those purposes. Implementation of security systems is another reason that you can have an executive session. Real property transactions, including a purchase or a lease, or a lease or agreement or a transfer exchange of sale for said property. You can have one for consolidation, providing that strategy is necessary for bargaining or competitive reasons, and the meeting does not include competitive bargaining adversaries. There are other reasons like to discuss assessments, to receive information about and interview protected employees. For example, I'm your only employee, so like if you want to hire the superintendent, you can have executive session for those reasons. There are other things like discussions of records classified as confidential by federal or state statute, discussion before any placement decision of an individual, a student's ability, past performance or behavioral needs, discussion of an employee's job performance or evaluation, and appointments for official public information or applications that are made. So things of that nature, I wanted to talk about that. And even though we're looking at this as a first read, what I want us to all hear is that we've been supporting this policy already, even though it hasn't been on the books, and Attorney Tobert has made sure that we've been supporting it correctly. One of the other ones that I wanted to highlight is 8540. And the reason I'm highlighting 8540 because it's been rescinded. And basically what it is, it was about vending machines. It was a policy that talked about the school board recognizing vending machines can produce revenue, so on and so forth. But that policy has been rescinded. So, and that is a code, and I can't tell you necessarily why, but what I can tell you is They crossed it all out, we have to take it off our books. So even though I'm talking about it, whether we wanted to keep it or not, we have to take it off by law. So that was a policy that's talking about vending machines. And I think part of that, Linda, if I'm being truly transparent, is there's really a call about healthy food, if you want to speak to that during the actual day. So vending machines, while you can have them, they can't be on during the actual school day.
Yes, during breakfast and lunch, there can be no other food being sold, so the vending machines actually have to be turned off during that time frame.
Thank you. And then one of the things that we did today, here again, Tony Turner keeps us legal. Policy 6230 talks about the budget hearing. Well, you all know that we did some of that today. An annual budget adopted by the school board represents the board's position on the allocation of resources required to operate an appropriate system of education. So, you know, while we've been following this, when we came into the system after 7 years of takeover, we realized that there were no policies. So we've been staying in step with the law, but we still have to vote these policies in place. The last thing I did want to say about this is that we try to do our due diligence to make sure that we do not knowingly violate the law. We're not perfect, but we try not to misstep. So this is why we do our due diligence to make sure that we bring these things forward. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over. This is just informational. And there again, I remind board members, you have the opportunity to look at any of these policies on board docs. So with that, I yield it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stokes. I appreciate the first reading discussion. I'd like to give the board an opportunity if there are any comments on the presentation.
Thank you. I just have a couple. When I say that, first of all, as a board member, I'm on board docs and I didn't see them. It'd be nice to have it redlined so people could see what's changing, what's new. I bring this up because I've been on this side forever. And I know how it is when you're sitting there and you're looking at something, you have no idea what's going on. You're talking about these policies. I understand that good doctor was there for the policy and what's changed or whatever. Just if we can be informed, like, hey, look, policy number such. This is what's crossed out. This is what's changed. Even if it's online, like you said, if it's on board docs, perhaps it'll be there after the meeting. But just in terms of keeping the community informed of what's going on so that when we're at these meetings, we don't feel lost. And I just say that because I've been to several meetings and I felt lost sitting out there not knowing what's going on. So that's all I was bringing up, and I thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing the red lines or whatever's changed on board docs.
Okay, and I want to make sure that we make sure, Ms. Irma, if you can make sure that you meet with her so that she knows how to see the backside, because I know that, you know, we've given you access to the backside so that you can see all of the redlining. I just want to make sure that you have your meeting with Ms. Patton so that she can show you that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
One other point though. The policy meetings are once a month, and even though Dr. Woods is our appointed person, any board member can show up and attend, as well as the public. And so, and that's where they actually get into the weeds of the policies. And so, you know, that's also another opportunity to actually be able to see what's going into the policies.
And I appreciate that. And those meetings are at 4 o'clock, and like I was saying earlier, some of us have to work. So, thank you for that, though.
Mr. Chairman, might I say too that the policies as they are given to the school districts, it's the system that they use is Neola. Neola is a system that's used across the state. Yes, across the entire state. And they follow the law in terms of most of the policies that are presented to us to vote on and make decisions on. Most of the policies are very prescriptive. You do not get an opportunity to make a whole lot of changes to the policies. Where you do have an opportunity, they may give you a choice or 2 or 3 at times, and you select that. But the language, everything comes from Neola. It's not something that we, so for those of you who don't know, it's not something that we sit and decide and discuss what we're gonna say in this policy. It's given to us. This is what you have to react to, and we have to do that as we are suggested. And again, it is based on the law, that they're good. I wish most organizations across had a system like Neola. They give it to you, they tell you what the law is, and you get that information and you react to it.
It's actually a good thing that Neola does that, because you imagine if we had to figure this all out ourselves and try to make sure that we're not violating the law, because the Indiana code changes quite often. I just read earlier some changes that have been made based on, federal, state, or attorney general recommendations.
Any additional comments on the discussion? I want to thank the board members for their engagement, and a special thank you for Dr. Woods for chairing the policy committee. It is definitely appreciated. We'd like to move on now to item number 8 on our agenda, an update with Mr. Richards.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Stokes. Technology officer for the district. If we could go to slide 1. So I'm here tonight to present the 2025 Digital Learning Grant, which we applied for last summer. The grant was offered to all schools and corporations within the state of Indiana, and approximately 50 to 60 districts were chosen to receive the funding for the digital grant. And so I'm pleased to share that Gary Community School Corporation was one of the recipients. With that said, I'd like to say we did get the money. All right, and also, this is just an overview of what the grant is about. The grant named after David C. Ford, who was a senator and legislator. The award amount was $50,000. It was administered by the IDOE, and the period is from July 1st to 2025 to June 30th, 2026. One of the purposes for the grant here at Gary Community School Corporation is to strengthen our one-on-one technology initiative to directly support the classroom's instruction through improved digital learning tools. Slide 3. The grant was divided into 3 main areas, which is professional services, which is the GoGuardian UPD training, and what that is an applications that the teachers use to monitor students as they teach within the class. So the teacher has a laptop with GoGuardian on it, and the students have another licensed GoGuardian on their Chromebooks. So if they're surfing the web or playing games while she's teaching, the teacher has the ability to go in and lock that Chromebook, or to send a notice, or to change them from that site. And also the hardware that we're looking at is the Chromebooks. We have ordered 50 new HP Fortis Chromebooks, and the cost was $20,163. And this came with a warranty. Trifera is a company, came with cases, and also management, which is the adapters that was added to the order. All right. Next slide. So the 50 HP Fortis Chromebooks were ordered to replace some of the outdated Chromebooks that we have, and also some of the Chromebooks that were broken, screen cracks, keyboards broken, or some when students moved away, they did not return the Chromebooks and things like that. So we are actually updating our Follett system to be able to keep up with all of that information as well. So the goal for the new Chromebooks is to reduce instructional disruptions due to broken or missing student devices. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so here we if you see, I have 69% of staff reported that they would have device issues at least once a week. So what I did was I took a survey throughout the district, which consisted of paras, principals, teachers, technicians, librarians, etc., to see what they were experiencing with technology based upon Chromebooks and connectivity. 69% of the staff reported that they were having device issues at least weekly. A lack of working devices can disrupt learning and student behavior. So the staff urged an update and asked for durable devices and better filtering policies. All right, next please. So to address these key findings, we purchased 50 of these Chromebooks, and they will be here tomorrow between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And we will be passing those out. So this is to support e-learning, testing, and daily instruction, and to reinforce district's commitment to modern, effective education. All right. Next slide, please. And that was it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Richards. Are there any questions or discussion on the presentation?
Congratulations on getting the money.
Thank you.
Thank you for the grant approval.
Thank you.
Moving on to 8.2 on our agenda. Mrs. Zaborowski.
Good evening again. I would like to give a financial update. First, got it. All right, so this first slide is just kind of a snapshot of our three major funds and all the expenses from January through August. We are balanced through August. How this compares to our approved budget versus all the expenses that we've had through August and our unexpensed amount. As you can see in the education fund, we have 35% left of the budget, approved budget. The referendum, 39%, and the operations fund, 33%. And then this next slide is the education fund expenses. This is kind of just a snapshot of the same information, just a little different view for everybody, what our approved budget was, what our transfers were, things of that nature, the year-to-date expenses through August, and then our remaining budget. And then here is the actual cash flow. So in here, you'll notice that we have revenues in the beginning balance, all the revenues for the month, and then all of the expenditures. So in the education fund, the ending cash balance is $23,152,428. And then we have the operations fund. Here's just a quick snapshot of our year-to-date expenses. We have 33% of our budget remaining. And then I do have to apologize. I am not sure if the board received the correct slide for the operations cash flow. My apologies if you do not have the one through August. But the cash balance in August is $7,329,295. I will email that to you if you do not have that. And I understand it's small numbers, I do apologize. But in order for me to give you all the information from all the months, I can't make it any bigger, unfortunately.
They can make it bigger on theirs, they have.
Okay, perfect. The one thing I wanted to point out, we had an audit finding I was notified in July, the June 30th, 2025. We had two previous audit findings. This was prior administration. So there were two audits previous, the 2020 through 2022 and the 22 through 2024. the allocation of the medical and benefit expenses were not allocated appropriately. Some of the expenses were allocated to a clearing fund. The clearing fund, when you report your expenditures, is not reflective in your Form 9. So in these audit findings, we had a overdrawn cash balance in these clearing funds. So these were audit findings. When I came on board, this was brought to my attention. This had been going on for 6 to 7 years. So it had just kind of somewhat been accumulating as an overdrawn cash balance every year. They were cited twice. It was not corrected. My team, we took these previous reports, hundreds and hundreds of line items, and went through and reallocated it appropriately. So you're gonna notice in the benefit area in August, we finally finished it in August, you're gonna notice an increase in the benefit expenses in the operations fund and very noticeably in the education fund, which I will show you in a moment. Actually, I probably did already, I'm so sorry. Let me go back, because I do want to point it out. And these audit findings were presented to the board. We had a post-audit meeting where we went over these. But we finally got to a point where it was corrected.
If you recall, board members, at that meeting, they told us that we had to write corrective action plans, CAPs. And so this was one of the things that took a lot of time that Linda and her team had to work on to try to get it right. Linda, can you show the arrow where that is?
I sure will. Yep. If it's working. It is not working. There we are. There we are. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very challenged with this clicker. It is here. You'll notice that it actually doubled. And that is because of the reallocation.
Mrs. Zaporowski, the item that we have in our deck doesn't go through August, so if you could send us a
Yes, and I apologize for that. Yes, you will receive this particular sheet. Yes. So as you can see, IDOE and SBOA have confirmed that the corrective action plan, we have handled it and dealt with it moving forward. This will not happen again. But this was collective. This was from years. Any questions on that? Sure.
Thank you. I'm just trying to follow in my head, and I suppose I cannot. When you have the audit and it was moved to the wrong place, it's just a matter of fixing paperwork, or is there a financial penalty associated with that?
There's no financial penalty as long as we fix it. Now this, there were 2 prior audits that this had happened to. They said there could be a penalty in our state tuition if we did not fix it.
Okay.
So we did fix it, and this is, showing you that we've actually fixed it.
So just going on that line of discussion, just clarify this is again an error, but not necessarily, or is it indicating that there was something done, nefarious?
No, there was nothing done nefarious. No, what it was, I'll try to explain it. When our benefit bills come in, a lot of times we have a huge turnover in staff. Okay, so with the vendor and with our books, the vendor maybe hasn't taken the employee off and they've left our district. So we're actually charged those, but we don't deduct anything from the employee, but we continue to pay. So that actually falls into a clearing account. We have to reallocate that and appropriately either receive our credit or pay it and expense it properly, which was not done. Any more questions? Okay, my last slide is the referendum fund. And here's just a quick snapshot. Our total referendum budget approved was $10,500,000. We are at remaining balance of 39%. And then here's just a quick snapshot. We have a cash balance at the end of August of $4,583,000. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to item number 9. 8.3 item, sorry.
Pursuant to Indiana Code 20-28-9-27, school corporations who experienced an increase in tuition support FY24 to FY25 are required to expend an amount for full teacher salaries in FY25 equal to or greater than FY24 expenditures for full-time teacher salaries plus the lesser of teacher stipends distributed in FY23 and FY24. What this means is the state has taken our funding floor calculation. The line item 1 and line item 2 are direct amounts taken from our Form 54, which is our state aid, our approved state aid. Number 3 is the FY24 full-time teacher salaries, and where they got this number from is from our Form 9. This would be 7/1 of 23 through June 30th of 24. FY23 teacher stipends was from 7/1/22 through June 30th of 23. Teacher stipends FY24 was July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. They take these calculations, the lesser of lines 4 and 5, which was that teacher stipends. Our FY25 funding floor amount was $16,306,944. We expensed $15,901,241. What does this mean? It means that we did not spend enough money on teacher salaries and benefits. What this doesn't take into account and what this statute doesn't state is if we have a teacher shortage, we have to contract services out to have teachers, whether it be teaching our students or whatever. Those amounts that we expense are not included in this calculation. I have reached out to IDOE, to the state in regards to this, and they just said currently that they are not including that in this calculation. So I have to report that we have not met the funding floor. There's no penalties. It's like $406,000 shy.
It's just something we have to do by law. And one thing I want to highlight, like we have to have, if we can't find speech therapists, for example, we got to have a speech and audiologist. I used to be one. We have to contract out, but we don't get to count that, even though they're supporting our children. And unless, we can get the laws changed, it is what it is. And so this is why she's before you, because the law requires that if you don't meet the funding floor, you have to talk about it.
What I do want to state, Also too, is that this was, all of these agreements, contracts, teacher salaries was from previous administration.
And that's only important because, when we came into office a year ago, many things were already set into motion, and you can't go in and change things that deal with like the collective bargaining, for example. You don't get to change those things. We just have to come in and work with what we have and do what we can do.
Any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
So there's no penalty to this?
There's not.
Okay, it's just aspirational?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And then just also, so when you're saying like with the $400,000 deficit,
sure.
That the school corp didn't have that money because it was spent on other things that weren't allowed to be tracked here.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep, this funding floor, it has to be on teachers that work for Gary Community Schools only.
So our staff.
Yep.
Just understanding that the state said that they weren't considering those contracted amounts. Did we still assess what that is? Does it add up to that amount, or the 400?
It exceeds it.
It exceeds it.
It exceeds it.
Okay.
More, way more.
Okay, very good.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
I don't have that number for you, but it exceeded it. Yes.
Any additional questions? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Item 9 on our agenda, individual board member reports or communications. I'd like to open up the floor for board members for comments or statements. Again, I'd like to use this time to welcome our newest board member, Attorney Lockett. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Let's move on to item 10, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Stokes.
All right, thank you so much. We like to discuss what I call matters of corporation interest. So one of the things we wanted to talk about, if you look at our screen, and you typically have all of this information sent out a plethora of ways. I did want Ms. Chelsea to remind us of all the various ways that you can connect with this information before I start talking about some of the things, because I think that's important for our community to be reminded. This is parent-teacher conferences. This is important to us, so we do want to make sure that we give a shout out about the fact that Friday, October the 17th, we have Synchronous Day for all students. But if you could talk about how they can find this information, that would be great.
Absolutely. Good evening again, members of the board, Dr. Stokes, and the community. There are a plethora of ways to obtain information from your Gary Community School Corporation. First of which is our website, garyschools.org. We have the only FM radio station owned by a school corporation in Northwest Indiana, WGBE 88.7, which streams live so you can listen to it in your cars, you can listen to your homes, or on your devices by also going to our website, garyschools.org. We are on social media. You can get this information on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can also receive it directly in your buildings. They make hard copies, pass them out, and they're in our Face Liaison parent rooms. Each of our schools also have various platforms that they use to communicate with parents, including Class Dojo and Remind, and our student information system, which is Skyward. All of our students and parents have passcodes by which they can access information, not only like this, but as well as grades and attendance, etc. Am I leaving anything out? Oh, email marketing. We also have an e-newsletter, and we have email and text messaging in order to send this information to our various communities. And then there are our community forums, school board meetings, etc., where this information is made available to the public.
So I wanted her to share that particularly for this particular parent-teacher conference information. The parent-teacher conferences are scheduled to be from 12:30 to 5:30. So parents, if you've not tried to reach out to your teachers and set up a time, please do so as the date is quickly approaching. We can move to our next slide then. I wanted to talk about the Superintendent's Advisory Council.
One of the things that I've always liked to do after I get settled, and I've had a year to get settled, is I like to have an advisory council which is made up of students at the high school, and we typically support our seniors in doing this at the high school, but at our middle schools, as we prepare students to be in charge of their learning, we go in and talk to our 8th graders. So I am going to be launching here at Gary Community Schools what I term as the Superintendent Advisory Council, so that I can hear from the voices of our students about what they believe that they need to be supported, nurtured, and taught in Gary Community Schools. Our next slide, in like terms, this is what's called the Superintendent Listen and Learn series. And this is different from what we have that's being called discussion. If you recall, Indiana Code used to require that we had to have meaningful discussion with our teachers. The law does not require us to have it. I will tell you that when I came boots on the ground, I knew that the voice of the teachers is important. So we do still have monthly discussion with our teachers. We don't have to, but we do. But that is just a select group that our union leader has decided that she would like to have be a part of that discussion, and then they go back into their buildings and share. But this is different. I'm highlighting discussions because what I'm trying to do here is different. The Superintendent Listen and Learn is essentially where I go out to every building at just different times, and I just have teachers are making come, sometimes we have a few snacks, and I just, it's like a fireside chat. They just get to talk to me, ask questions about things maybe that they don't understand, and I'm just listening and learning, and we hear from the teachers in that way. We go to our next slide then. Trunk or treat, October 31st, 5 to 7. And Crystal, if you could share a little bit more about the trunk or treat, because I know this is something that in your wheelhouse you all deal with. If you could just grab a mic right there real quick and share a little bit more.
Sure. So we continue to partner with our community in a number of initiatives. You all know that our movie night out on the football field was a huge success, and so to continue that momentum, we've partnered with the City of Gary for our Trunk or Treat event, which will happen on October 31st, and that will be at Roosevelt. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 to 7 p.m. at Roosevelt, and that is at Roosevelt because we know it's a central area, as well as the community will be welcome. And because we cleaned it up for that wonderful Jackson Block Party, we want to continue to highlight how amazing our facilities are, and that our community is welcome there to use and rent out our facilities, of course, through the proper channels at any time. So we thank the City of Gary for this partnership, and we look forward to other opportunities to work with the community.
And while you have the microphone, if you can share a little bit about the Aviation Day by Boeing, which I know you spearheaded and supporting. If you go to the next slide, please.
Oh, I'm so excited. So Boeing, Boeing is doing the Aviation Day next Tuesday. We've been working on this for a couple months. I made sure I got my clearance because I told them I'll be one of the kids hanging out. And so they have selected students from between 7th and 12th grade, and they wanted to be all-inclusive. So we are doing Gary Community Schools as well as our charter schools, and we are going to have a number of different activities. They'll be doing experiments, they'll have a panel discussion, they'll have lunch, and all of this is sponsored by Boeing and their partners. And so we thank them so very much because they want to show our kids and give them the opportunity to see pilots, to see people who work on the planes, the engineers, all these different people who work for Boeing, and they can aspire to be that. And also we've invited our Career Center, who has the aviation program here. We're here. You can see it's getting late. With the hands-on, simulation program. So it will just spark their interest and hopefully recruit more students to come over here to the Career Center. And the sky is the limit for them.
It is, and at such a time as this when we are experiencing a shortage with pilots, how timely.
So then if we can go to our next slide, I just want to talk about National Principals Month. And I just want to go on record in much the same way that we appreciate our students, our families, our parents, and our staff, we appreciate our principals. So if you have the opportunity, give a shout out. It is nice, easy, and summer things to practice on a building and support staff and students and parents alike. But we do appreciate our principals. We thank them for what they do, and we want to go on record saying that. And so then with that, I just want to talk about, we actually have 2 drafts today. One is for the Thursday, October 23rd, 1 p.m. meeting. It's just for the budget adoption. It's usually a pretty short meeting, but we actually have that meeting. That particular meeting will not be here. Let me repeat. It will not be here at the Career Center. That meeting will be at 900 Jerry Street, commonly known as Central Office. You can enter through door B. And then we will resume with our regular meeting Thursday, November, I think that says the 13th, I'm a little blind here. Thursday, November the 13th. And as you see, we kind of put things that we know will happen, like we've got some action items, if you look, that we know we need to take care of. We've got some first readings for things, and some second readings will occur for some of our policies. And then I think everything is kind of just wrote some of the consent agenda item things. With that, I turn it back over to our board president.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes, and I'd like to open up to the board for comments or questions on the presentation. Hearing no comments or questions. Yes, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted to say that on Form 3.2, which was shown to the community at the beginning, which was the notice to taxpayers, just letting the taxpayers know that following this meeting, any 10 or more taxpayers may object to the budget, tax rate, or tax levy filed by filing an objection petition with the proper officers of the Gary Community School Corporation not more than 7 days after the hearing. And the objection petition must identify the provisions of the budget, tax rate, or tax levy to which taxpayers object. And if the petition is filed, then this board, this Community School Corporation Board, shall adopt a budget with a finding concerning the objections to the in the petition and the testimony presented. So that's just letting the community know to keep you involved. If there is something that you have issue with, if you can get 9 other people with you and file a petition and object if you'd like.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for your attendance. We appreciate you being here.